We as humans love a good rescue story. We love those final moments when the knight in shining armor shows up, or the eagle takes the person struggling to the final destination, or that dog arrives just in time to save the lost boy. And we seem to like those stories. And in our own life, we are always looking for someone to rescue us, it seems. Don't know if you've noticed it. Today I have a journal exercise for you. If you're looking to be rescued, this is our topic for today. And even if you're not, it's good to think about. You may be surprised what you come up with. Go read through Psalms 18. You'll see the links on the page, and then join me for this journal exercise. Today, our journal exercise walks us through a 3-act play of our life. And if you can draw, I want you to use that skill today. Even if you are a really bad artist, there's something about drawing things out that sometimes can unlock a different part of our brain or help us see things a little differently. So, grab your journal. Let's get to it. I want you to divide your page into 3 sections. In the first section, I want you to draw a picture of yourself. Don't get fancy and don't overthink this. I just want you to draw you. Who is this about? Who's the protagonist in this story? It's you. What do you know about yourself? What can you draw? How do you picture yourself? Don't overthink it. Don't take too long. Just draw a picture of yourself. Or if you refuse to draw, just use some words to describe yourself. In the second column, you're going to depict a picture of you and your struggle. Our ancient friend says it this way: "The cords of death entangled me, the torrents of destruction overwhelmed me, the cords of the grave wrapped around me, the snares of death confronted me." He doesn't tell us what his struggle is. Notice that. He just depicts it in a very real way. I had one client who was artsy draw a picture of herself in the struggle, and ahead of her was this ramp, and on this ramp were like spikes pointed outward, and each of those spikes symbolized something from her past that she had to get past in order to get on her way. Really well thought out visualization. You don't have to be that brilliant, but tap into your own intuition, see what you picture, draw whatever's there, and just take a few minutes to do that. In the third column, we are going to draw a picture of ourselves when our struggle is over. And I want you to notice the words that this psalmist uses. He says, "He's brought me into a spacious place. The rescuer delights in him. He's not snuffed out. Where there was darkness, now it's turned to light. He can run through a barricade or he can scale a wall," which to me means I can do the impossible. "He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to stand on the heights." I love that. Have you seen videos of mountain goats that are just up on the mountain doing their thing? They raise their young up there and you're like, because it's so treacherous. They could slip at any time, but somehow they manage and they continue to go on. You think they could find safer, better places, but for them that's natural, and they can survive that. And I love that picture. That it's a picture of you doing what you were created to do, doing it well. It's often one of those things that people, to you, it's normal. Other people go, "How do you do that?" It's like I'm always amazed at people that when they hear that somebody's going through a tragedy or something's going on, they can quickly put together a meal and show up with it. And it's like the easiest thing for them to do. And I can't. I totally overthink it. What are their allergies? Will they like this? Will this be good? Is somebody else providing it for them? Do they even like this? For those people that do that easily, they're like hinds feet on those high places, doing for them what's easy for them and using the gifts and talents that they've been given. He trains my hands for battle, which I would say is like the struggles that you've been through prepare you for the struggles that are ahead. Training. His arms can bend a bow of bronze. And again, I think it's another way of saying doing the impossible, that on the other end of this struggle, I've been able to deal with and do what I didn't think was possible. So in this third column, you are jumping into the future. You are imagining your struggle as being behind you. You're seeing what life is like at that point. How would you feel? What would you look like? What strengths would you have gained in the middle of this? What would be possible for you over there? Take a moment, draw that out. So I want you to go back and look at the pictures that you've drawn. Look at the first picture. Is there something that you've left out? Is there something you missed in that process? When you look at all three pictures, what is kind of the mood that's there? How does it make you feel? Were you surprised at the way you were able to picture the struggle in the second picture? Does seeing it on the page somehow help you deal with it, come to grips with it? Is there something there that you need to accept? Does it bring up grief of something that you know you just have to move through, that you can't avoid? What you've done so far may be enough. That is the end of the assignment that I got from the book Transforming Trauma. But there's another twist that I think this psalm shows us. He has an incredible picture of his God that rescues him. He talks about mountains shaking, smoke coming from his nostrils, consuming fire from his mouth. But the anger isn't at him. The anger is at the struggle. The anger is the anger of a God or higher power that sees his children cry and just rises up like a mama bear to protect, to solve, to fix, to work on their behalf. He uses the word, and he delights in me. Don't you love the word delight? It kind of gives the impression of somebody that knows you, knows your good days, knows your bad days, and just still really likes you. That this God likes his sense of humor. He likes his smile. He likes the way that he can organize and do things, or he likes the way that he can't get things done and just loves him just the way he is. A God who loves you, your laugh, your smile. What would shift in your world if you pictured God, higher power, whatever you want to call him, as looking down at you with loving, kind eyes and just delighting in who you are exactly the way you are in the middle of your struggle? We hope for a lot of things to rescue us from our current struggle. So often we look for lesser things to rescue us. I know even during my day, I will think of a bowl of ice cream at the end of it that's going to rescue me from the stress of my day. But so often it's other things. It can be a glass of wine, an Amazon purchase, or perhaps we look to the people in our lives. If only my husband would help out, if my children would listen, if we want the people in our worlds to rescue us and change what they're doing so it's easier for us. And sometimes it's things like we tell ourselves life will be better when I win the lottery, when I have a better job, when my child is potty trained. What if you adopted our ancient writers' worldview, where there is a God that's listening and watching you like he does a loving child, with eager eyes, wanting to step in and help you, wanting to do what needs to be done in your world? If you drew a picture, I want you to go back to the second column, where you in the middle of your struggle, and I want you to draw some sort of kind eyes or a kind face looking down at you in love. What is that like? What would that be like to know that even in the middle of your struggle, somebody sees and they're looking at you, just proud that you are able to be in the middle of that struggle and know that you will get through it. Hugs to you, my friend. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this was helpful in some way. And now, go take on your day. And I interrupt this to say it's story time with Auntie Trish. You can end this, go on with your day. If you want to stick around and learn what I've learned from this gray hair and these wrinkles about being rescued, stick around, we'll talk. I can think of so many times in my life when I wanted to be rescued. One of those times was I was a teenager, and it was a really hard day for me. The bully had decided that it was that day that he was going to turn his nasty gaze my direction and pick on me. And just before the teacher came into the classroom, he had twisted my arm behind my back and pushed me to the back of the classroom and slammed my head against the bookshelf that was back there. And I don't know if anyone saw, but it felt to me like the entire classroom saw and had their eyes on me. It was shortly after that the teacher shows up. We scurried back to our desks, and I remember it was a math test day, and I had to sit and write that math test. And I don't know if I hit it well or not, but I remember crying through that test. And as soon as it was over, I handed in my paper, grabbed my things, and took off out of school. We lived 8 miles south of town on a farm, and I walked that whole dusty road back to my home, wanting so badly that somebody would rescue me. I thought maybe, the teachers from the next class would notice that I wasn't there. Thought somebody would have seen that I'd left the school and sent somebody to look after me. Thought maybe if that didn't happen, the school bus driver, because I was always there, that he would notice, that he would look for me, that someone would have called my mom at work and told me that I wasn't there. But nobody did. And I walked that whole way home thinking, I don't matter. Why am I such a loser? Why is life so hard? When I got home, the animals, as usual, predictable, they were there for me. But I had hoped that when my parents came home, that they would see that something was wrong and they would ask. I really wanted an attuned parent at that time. But whatever happened in their day that day, they either didn't notice or I was really good at hiding it. I've been that in my life. I know now that I could have and I should have advocated for myself. I know now that I've grown enough that that would never happen in my world again now. But I was young and I didn't know, and I needed to go through a lot of struggle in order to find my voice. So the takeaway I want you to take from this is that we do look for lesser things to rescue us. And that's okay in the short term. There are things that are helpful, there are things that aren't helpful. So choose some of the more helpful things in the meantime, but never, ever, ever lose sight that there is something greater, something bigger, that loves you, that knows you, that is working it out in your life. We often pray for our circumstances to change when the circumstances are actually the things that need to be there in order to change us. I remember years after this going to a seminar where I was invited to join, and it was collaborative. We were gathered around tables discussing things. And there was a lady that I had just met there. And after, when the day was done, she said to me, Trish, it is so refreshing to have you here because you don't know you're not supposed to talk. I didn't know I was not supposed to have a voice in that place. I was invited. I was invited to sit around the table. I was invited to have a voice there. But the culture, the stuff that had gone on historically in this group of people meant that I, as a woman, didn't have a voice. But I was so thankful that I'd been through what I'd been through, and I knew how to find my voice. And you can too. Hang on, hold on for the greater thing. Hold on for the greater rescue. And now,